Welcome to the walkthrough of frequently made mistakes for assignment 5 in my CS 253 course in the fall of 2023. Let's start by taking a look at perform crawl. Please make sure you put the call to count before the call to on error return. And also, please don't return 0 here, return the result of this call chain up above. Something else to note, you'll probably need to use int value here as the final value to convert this into an int. It's going to be a long otherwise because count returns a long. So make sure you do that. Down in crawl page async, don't use call in manage blocker here since the RxJava implementation doesn't use the Java common fork join pool. Also, please make sure that once you take out the use of call in manage blocker, that you replace this code here, that's a Lambda expression, with a simple method reference. Always, always, always get in the habit of doing that. Down here, you don't need to use a cast and you don't need to use flowable just. All you need to do is just pass in the page and also don't increment depth here. That will cause problems later in your code. We'll see that as we get a little further below. Now let's take a look at images on page links async. Down here, you need to use the appropriate factory method that returns the page elements as string objects. And also don't pass image as a parameter because this particular method is just supposed to deal with page objects as per the images on page links async name for this method. Down here, you need to make sure you call run on first before calling the other parameters. We'll talk about what you need to pass to run on in just a second. Down here, there's no need to use string value of. You just need to use the right factor method up here to make these be strings. And also completely unclear why a call, this parameter is being passed, which is just the string containing the underscore. Though you don't do that, you need to pass in the URL since obviously you're starting to crawl at that point. And something important is missing here. You should be able to figure that out by this point. Down here, this run on call is in the wrong place, but even if it were in the right place, this is using the wrong method, the wrong type of scheduler. So you want to use the type of scheduler that we talked about in class. That type of scheduler is not single. That type of scheduler is not trampoline. That type of scheduler is not the common fork join pool. So it's also not computation for that matter. So take a look at the video where I walk through the schedulers to use with the different RxJava operators that are relevant for this assignment 5, and you'll see exactly what to do. If you also think about the type of operations being done, it'll make sense as well. Let's take a look at some other issues with images on page async. So here you need to call get or download image within the context of map not null. And this is the way you do that to some extent. However, this is the wrong place to call compose and map not null. And it's also the wrong parameters to pass here as well. So you need to change that around. And down here, again, please always, always, always get in the habit of using method references rather than Lambda expressions. Our unit tests don't check for that, but you should make sure you do that, and your IDE, Android Studio or IntelliJ or whatnot, will actually prompt you to make those changes automatically. Some other issues with images on page async. Something important is missing here, right there. So you should take a close look at what you did in previous assignments to see what you need to do here. You have to make sure that you call run on before the other operations here. Again, this doesn't belong down here, and it's also using the wrong scheduler. I'm not sure what compose is being done here with common pool flowable, but it shouldn't be done that way. Instead, you want to be composing map not null. So make sure you pass that as the call to the compose method or operator. And down here, don't use manage blocker download image. You want to just use download image because we're not using manage blockers at all in the RxJava solution, which is basically the problem with the scheduler that's being passed in here. Down here, once again, same problem, using the wrong scheduler. Make sure you use the right scheduler. Likewise, down here, make sure you use compose properly and other operations you need to do in conjunction with compose. In particular here, don't be calling create new cache item twice. I'm not sure what's going on there, but that's definitely incorrect. You only want to call it once up here. It needs to be called at this point here, not down here. That's backwards. So those were the frequently made mistakes that I saw when I did my review of assignment 5. Please make sure you address those and get them submitted by the final deadline for your final submission. And then we will go about evaluating and grading your program And also make sure that you include all of your previous implementations so that your unit tests pass everything.